So far, we've seen how to style XML code using CSS and have the browser display the contents of XML tags instead of the XML document tree. But the problem that we've run into is that we don't have a way to put labels in front of the content of the XML that's being styled. And in this exercise, we're going to see how to do that using CSS2. So here in the example snippets file, I've scrolled down to the Advanced XML with CSS section. And I'm going to open up the business card underscore style underscore CSS2.xml document. And this is the document that we're going to work on. Now, you can see I've made a couple of changes from the previous business card example. First, I've changed the root tag to say business cards instead of just business card, because I want to have a container that can hold more than one business card. And you can see here I've copied the first business card and pasted it down here at the bottom of the document so that I have more than one business card in the file. The third change that I've made is I've introduced a new attribute called primary. And you can see that following the rules of XML, I've got the attribute name equals the name of the attribute as the value, because I can't just simply have primary sitting there by itself. So what we're going to do is write some CSS code that's going to put labels in the front of the content in the XML file. So let's do a few things first. Let's go over to snippets and let's copy the style sheet declaration here. This is the processing instruction that associates the CSS with the XML file. And we're going to paste that in here. Okay, so now this XML document has the associated CSS code. Okay, and we're going to open up that file right here. This is business card underscore CSS2.css. And you can see that we've got a business card style declaration for each one of the business cards in the file. So this tag right here, or class name, is going to match up with each one of these business card tags. So let's go back to the snippets. And what I'm going to do now is copy the code that defines the style sheets. And I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it into the CSS file here and save it. Okay, so let's take a trip through the file and see what's going on. Now, if you watch the last exercise, then the style declarations for each of the tags will look familiar to you. All we're doing is styling the contents of each one of the XML tags in the document. But you can see that we've added a few things. So here, for example, in the email style declaration, I'm using a CSS2 selector called the before selector to insert some content into the document. And what I'm inserting is the email label. So by using the before pseudo class, this is going to put the string email in front of the contents of the email tag. And similarly, down here on the phone tag, I've got the same kind of thing. So the before pseudo class selector, and the content is going to be the value of the type attribute. So I'm using the content declaration here, and the function adder will extract the value of the name of the attribute I pass in here, which is type, along with a colon and a space. So if we go back to the XML document, you can see that the type attribute has various values, right? There's mobile, there's work, there's fax. So what this style declaration is going to do is get the value of that type attribute and then append this string to it and then put that in front of the contents of the phone tag. And then for phone tags that have an attribute named primary, I'm going to use the after pseudo class selector to put content after the contents of the phone tag. And the string is going to be a parenthesis with the value of the primary attribute, which is just the string primary, and a closing parentheses. So let's save this. Let's go out to the file system. And now let's bring this document up in the browser. And you can see that what's happening is now I've got two business cards. Both of them are being styled. And you can see that labels are now showing up. So in the case of the phone tags, I've got mobile, work, and fax. In the case of the email tag, I have the string email. And for the phone tag that had the primary attribute on it, in this case, it was the mobile one. In this case, it was the work one. The word primary appears after the content. So let's go back to the code for a second. All right, just so we fully understand what's going on, here is the primary attribute right here, right, on this phone tag, and here it is on the second one down here. Okay, let's go back to the CSS code. So in CSS2, you have some pretty powerful selectors. You can apply styles if a particular attribute is present. You can choose to do it either before or after a tag's content, and you can generate content based upon the values of the attribute. So using CSS2, we were able to apply some pretty advanced styling to our XML content, showing not just the contents of the tag, but decorating them with labels so that the user gets some useful information out of the content.